Listen to me, some of y'all gotta stop being the nice person. Yeah, I said it. Because being nice all the time is the reason you're exhausted. It's the reason people run over you. It's the reason you keep giving, and they keep taking. You out here breaking your back to please everybody, and the whole time, nobody even thinking about pleasing you. That ain't strength. That ain't kindness. That's you letting people take advantage of your good heart. See, there's a difference between being kind and being a doormat. Kindness is power. Niceness, the way most of y'all do it, is weakness. You don't say what you really feel because you're scared you might upset somebody. You don't set boundaries because you don't want people to think you're selfish. You apologize when you didn't even do nothing wrong just to keep the peace. That ain't peace. That's prison. That's you locking yourself up inside so everybody else can be comfortable outside. Some of y'all wake up every morning carrying everybody's problems but your own. You answering every call, every text, running to fix every little thing, showing up every time somebody needs you, but when you're the one struggling, where are they at? Where's that same energy? You're the strong one, the dependable one, the reliable one. But deep down, you're tired. And you're tired because you're giving out energy you don't even have to people who don't even appreciate it. Stop being the nice person. Stop saying yes when you want to say no. Stop smiling at people who disrespect you. Stop letting folks who don't value your time keep wasting it. Stop acting like you owe the world everything when the world ain't even paid you back for half of what you already gave. You think saying no makes you mean. No, saying no makes you free. You think setting boundaries makes you selfish. No, it makes you sane. You think speaking up for yourself makes you difficult. No, it makes you respected. Nice people don't get respect. They get used. Strong people get respect. Clear people get respect. People who stand on their value, they get respect. Let me tell you something, your life ain't a charity. Your peace is not a discount store. Your energy is not buy one, get one free. If people want a piece of you, they gotta earn it. They gotta qualify for it. Everybody doesn't deserve your time, your love, your patience, your forgiveness. Everybody doesn't get access to you just because they want it. You gotta decide who gets the best of you and who don't get nothing at all. And here's the truth, when you stop being the nice person, two things happen. The wrong people get mad and the right people get closer because the wrong people only loved you when you were easy to use. But the right people, they'll love you when you're strong. They'll love you when you're honest. They'll love you when you tell the truth about what you need. So hear me good. You don't have to stop being loving. You don't have to stop being generous. You don't have to stop being good-hearted. But you do have to stop being nice because nice is fake. Nice is fearful. Nice is fragile. Be real. Be bold, be firm, be kind, but let your kindness have a backbone. The difference between being kind and being nice is something many people confuse, and it is one of the biggest reasons why so many folks walk around drained, unappreciated, and overlooked. See, kindness is strength, kindness is intentional, kindness has power behind it, but niceness is usually weakness dressed up as manners. Nice is what you do when you don't want conflict. Nice is when you're smiling at somebody while secretly hurting on the inside because you didn't have the courage to say what you really felt. Nice is when you apologize when you know good and well you weren't wrong just to keep the other person from being upset with you. And the problem with being nice all the time is that it puts you in positions where people don't actually see you for who you are. They only see what they can get from you. They see your silence as permission. They see your willingness as availability. They see your smile as weakness, and they start to think they can push and pull you however they want. Kindness, though, that's a different story. Kindness requires discernment. Kindness knows when to give and when to hold back. Kindness says, I can love you, but I don't have to let you use me. Kindness is firm. It has a backbone. It stands tall. Being kind doesn't mean being agreeable all the time. It means you care enough to be honest, even if that honesty stings. It means you can be gentle, but also protect your peace. A kind person will tell you the truth. A nice person will lie to your face with a smile just so you won't be mad at them. A kind person will say no and still love you. A nice person will say yes when they want to say no, then resent you later. That's the difference, and it's a big one. The reason why so many people fall into the trap of niceness is because deep down, they want acceptance. They want to be liked. They want everybody to think of them as the good one, the reliable one, the person you can always count on. And at first, that feels good. It feels good to be the dependable one. It feels good to have people praise you for always showing up. It feels good when people tell you they don't know what they'd do without you. But what you don't realize is that those same people who say they can't do without you are often the very ones who won't lift a finger when you need something back. They've gotten so used to you being nice that they think it's your job, not your choice. And when you get tired, when you finally decide you can't keep carrying all that weight, they act shocked, like you changed. You didn't change. You just finally started realizing the difference between being kind and being nice. Kindness protects you while still letting you show love. Niceness sacrifices you while pretending it's love. Think about how many times you've bitten your tongue when you want to speak up. Think about how many times you agreed to plans you didn't want to go on. Think about how many times you've lent money you didn't have, given time you couldn't spare, smiled through disrespect you should have addressed. That's not kindness, that's niceness, and niceness will eat you alive because it strips you of your voice. People start to know you as predictable, someone who won't push back, someone who won't make them uncomfortable, and once they've labeled you that way, they stop respecting you. And when people stop respecting you, they stop valuing you. Being kind, on the other hand, commands respect. You can still show compassion, you can still help people, you can still be generous, but you do it from a place of strength. You know when enough is enough. You know how to say no without guilt. You know how to walk away from people who only take. You know how to love people without losing yourself in the process. He was making 15. That's what kindness does. It doesn't give away pieces of you to people who don't deserve it. It doesn't pretend to like things. It doesn't let people trample over boundaries. It knows where the line is, and it keeps that line strong. When you're nice, you're usually driven by fear. Fear that people will stop liking you. Fear that they'll talk about you behind your back. Fear that they'll call you selfish. Fear that they'll leave. And so you give, you serve, you overextend, you swallow your truth. But kindness isn't afraid like that. Kindness says, if you walk away because I told you the truth, then you were never really for me anyway. Kindness says, if you don't like my boundaries, that's on you, not me. Kindness says, I can forgive you, but I don't have to let you back into my space. Kindness is confident, it doesn't beg for acceptance. Niceness begs, kindness chooses. Niceness bends until it breaks. Kindness stands tall and steady. What you have to understand is that people can feel the difference. They may not put it into words, but they know. They know when you're just being nice because you're scared of their reaction. They know when you're fake smiling, fake agreeing, fake laughing. And the ones who are selfish, the ones who are manipulative, they'll take advantage of that every single time. But when you're kind, people feel the strength in it. They may not like it at first, especially if they're used to you being the pushover, but eventually they respect it. They may push back, and may even get mad, but deep down, respect grows when people see you stand your ground. So the difference between being kind and being nice comes down to one thing: who you're protecting. Niceness protects everybody else's feelings at the expense of your own. Kindness protects your heart while still caring for others. Niceness seeks approval. Kindness gives love. Niceness is about being liked. Kindness is about being real. And if you spend your life chasing the approval that comes with being nice, you will lose yourself. But when you choose kindness, the strong, honest, backbone-filled kind, you gain respect, you gain peace, and you gain freedom. Why people take advantage of the nice one is a lesson that's as old as time, and it's one too many people have had to learn the hard way. When you're the nice one, people quickly figure out that you're predictable. They know you'll always say yes. They know you'll show up even when you're tired. They know you'll lend money even when you don't have it to spare. They know you'll bite your tongue instead of speaking your truth. And once they figure that out, they stop treating your generosity as a gift and start treating it as an expectation. They start thinking it's your job to always be available, your duty to always be giving, your responsibility to carry weight that doesn't even belong to you. That's how the nice one ends up drained while everybody else is full. See, when people see you as the nice one, they don't ask, can you help? They assume you will. They don't ask, are you okay? They assume you'll figure it out on your own. They don't ask, do you have the energy for this? They assume you'll push yourself past your limits to make sure their needs are met. It becomes second nature for them to lean on you because they know you won't push back. And human nature being what it is, most people will take what they can get, not because they're always evil, but because they're comfortable. If you never tell someone they're overstepping, they'll keep stepping. If you never tell someone no, they'll never stop asking. If you never set limits, they'll keep testing how much you're willing to give. Being the nice one turns into being the easy one, the one who doesn't argue, the one who doesn't fight back, the one who won't make things difficult. And while that might seem like a compliment at first, what it really means is they see you as someone they can use. They'll come to you with every crisis, every problem, every inconvenience because they know you'll drop everything to help. But notice how when you're the one in need, suddenly folks get busy. Suddenly they don't answer the phone. Suddenly they don't have the money. Suddenly they don't have the time. The same people who expect you to be there for them every time will vanish the moment you need them. And you sit there wondering how they could do that. But the truth is they only mirrored back what you taught them. You taught them you don't need anything. You taught them your needs come last. You taught them you'll carry the load without complaint. And the sad part is sometimes it's not even malicious. Sometimes people don't even realize they're using you. They've just grown accustomed to your niceness. You trained them that way by never showing them your limits. But even if it's not intentional, the effect is the same. You end up empty, resentful, and invisible. People think you're strong enough to handle anything, but really you're just tired of nobody handling you. There's also another layer to it. Some people, when they spot a nice one, they see opportunity. They see someone they can manipulate, someone they can control. They know you're too nice to call them out, so they take advantage on purpose. They'll ask for more than they should. They'll push you further than you should go. They'll guilt trip you when you finally hesitate. They'll remind you of all the times you helped before, as if that means you owe them again and again. They'll use your own good heart against you, and before you realize it, you're trapped in a cycle where you're giving everything and getting nothing back. This is why nice people often feel invisible, because being nice, in the way most people practice it, doesn't get you appreciation, it gets you expectation. Folks don't thank you for being nice. They just assume you'll keep doing it. And after a while, you start to notice that nobody claps for you. Nobody checks in on you. Nobody even asks if you're okay. Because you've been so busy trying to make everyone else comfortable that you taught them you don't need comfort. You've been so busy making sure nobody else struggles that you convinced them you never struggle. That's how people take advantage. They believe the mask you wear, the mask of endless strength, endless patience, endless giving. And here's the hardest truth of all: people take advantage of the nice one because you allow it. Not because you want to, not because you deserve it, but because you never drew a line in the sand. You never told them enough is enough. You never showed them that your time has value, that your energy is limited, that your heart isn't free for everybody to trample on. You keep telling yourself that being nice is the right thing, but in reality, it's the thing that's costing you the most. The reason this keeps happening is because being nice usually comes from fear. Fear of being disliked, fear of being rejected, fear of being called selfish. So you keep saying yes, keep overextending, keep letting people slide, all because you don't want anyone to see you as difficult. But the irony is, the very thing you're afraid of, people not respecting you, is exactly what happens when you're too nice. They don't respect you, they don't value you, and they don't treat you with the care you deserve. People take advantage of the nice one because they can, because you've made yourself too available, too accommodating, too selfless for your own good. You think being the nice one will make people love you, but what it really does is teach them to use you. You think it will make people respect you, but it only makes them overlook you. You think it will keep the peace, but it only creates quiet resentment inside of you. Until you understand that difference, until you learn that being loved and being used are not the same thing, you'll keep wondering why you're empty while everybody else around you is full. The silent cost of always saying yes is one of those things that sneaks up on people. At first, it doesn't look like a problem. Saying yes feels good. You feel needed, you feel important, you feel like you're helping. Every time someone asks you for something and you agree, you convince yourself you're doing the right thing, that you're keeping the peace, that you're being a good person. But what you don't realize is that every yes comes with a price. And when you keep paying that price over and over, eventually you run out of yourself to give. It's not the loud costs that get you. It's the quiet ones, the little pieces of yourself you give away. Every time you put someone else before you, the quiet resentment that builds. Every time you sacrifice your own needs, the exhaustion that creeps in every time you ignore your limits just to avoid disappointing somebody else. When you're the person who always says yes, people stop asking if you even want to. They don't check to see if you're tired. They don't consider whether you have the time. They don't care if it disrupts your plans. They just assume you'll agree because that's what you've always done. And without even realizing it, you train the people around you to believe that your time isn't your own, that your energy is theirs to use whenever they please, that your boundaries are flexible, that your voice doesn't count. Saying yes when you want to say no doesn't just cost you. It changes how people see you. They stop respecting your limits because you've shown them you don't have any. The cost shows up in your body too. The headaches that come from stress, the sleepless nights from overthinking, the tightness in your chest when you know you should have said no but didn't. Your body keeps the score of every yes you gave when you didn't want to. That's why you're tired even when you've slept. That's why you feel heavy even when nothing's wrong. That's why you catch yourself snapping at people when you promised yourself you wouldn't. It's because you're stretched thin, worn down, carrying more than you're built to carry, and all because you didn't want to let someone else down. Another cost is your dreams. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you say no to something that could have. You give away the time you could have spent building your vision, working on your goals, resting your body, growing yourself. Your own life sits on the back burner because you keep prioritizing other people's fires. And the hard truth is, some of those fires weren't even your responsibility to put out. But because you didn't want to seem selfish, you let yourself get pulled into battles that weren't yours. And while you're busy fighting for everybody else, nobody is fighting for you. The silent cost also shows up in relationships. When you're always saying yes, you attract people who expect it. The ones who value you for your giving, not for your being. They don't see you as a person with needs and limits. They see you as a resource, and resources get used until they're empty. And the saddest part is, the people who would truly value you, the ones who would respect your boundaries and appreciate your honesty, they often don't get the chance to see you because you're too busy being drained by those who don't deserve you. Always saying yes keeps you tied to the wrong people and blocks you from the right ones. And then there's the resentment. You don't talk about it, but it builds quietly. Every time you agree to something you don't want, a little seed of frustration gets planted, and those seeds grow. You smile on the outside, but on the inside you're frustrated, bitter, even angry. Angry at them for asking, angry at yourself for agreeing, angry at the whole situation. That anger doesn't just vanish, it leaks into your tone, into your attitude, into how you see yourself. It makes you question why people don't see your value, but the truth is you've been teaching them to ignore it by never saying no. The cost of always saying yes is also your authenticity. You stop living as your true self and start living as a version of yourself that other people prefer. You swallow your opinions, you hide your feelings, you act like you're okay when you're not. You become agreeable at the expense of being real. And after a while, you don't even recognize yourself. You wake up wondering why you feel lost, why you feel disconnected, why nothing feels fulfilling anymore. It's because you abandoned your real self to keep up the role of being the nice one, the agreeable one, the dependable one. You said yes so many times that you silenced your own voice. There's also the financial cost. Think about how many times people guilted you into spending money you didn't have, giving when you should have saved, lending when you knew you wouldn't get it back, all because you didn't want to say no. Now you're stressed, behind on your own priorities, struggling with your own needs, but you've made sure everybody else is fine, and while they're sleeping peacefully, you're up at night wondering how you're going to make it work. That's the price you pay for being unable to say no. But the biggest cost of all is your peace. Peace is priceless, but it's the first thing you give up when you always say yes. You can't rest when you're stretched too thin. You can't relax when you're worried about disappointing someone. You can't enjoy life when you're constantly being pulled in directions that don't serve you. Saying yes to everyone else leaves you with nothing left for yourself. And peace cannot survive in that kind of chaos. The silent cost of always saying yes is that you lose yourself slowly, piece by piece. You don't notice it at first because it feels small, but over time, the weight builds. You realize you've been carrying burdens you weren't meant to carry. You've been living a life shaped by other people's demands. You've been sacrificing your happiness for the comfort of others. And by the time you notice, you're already running on empty, wondering how you got there. Learning the power of no is one of the most life-changing lessons you will ever learn because that small word carries weight that can protect your time, your energy, your heart, and your peace. For many people, saying no feels impossible. It feels rude, it feels selfish, it feels like you're letting people down. You've been conditioned to think that saying yes makes you a good person and saying no makes you difficult. But the truth is, no is not rejection. It is protection. No is not cruelty. It is clarity. No is not selfishness. It is self-respect. Every time you say no when you need to, you are reminding yourself and the world that your life has value and your boundaries matter. The reason so many people struggle with the word no is because they attach their worth to how much they can give. They want to be liked. They want to be seen as dependable. They want to be the one everybody counts on. And while there is nothing wrong with helping people, there is everything wrong with sacrificing yourself to the point that you no longer have anything left. That's why no is powerful. It draws a line in the sand that says, I am willing to give, but not at the cost of myself. I am willing to help, but not if it destroys me. I am willing to love, but not if it means abandoning who I am. No becomes the gatekeeper that protects your well-being. What makes no powerful is that it forces people to see you as a person, not just a provider. When you say yes to everything, people forget that you have limits. They assume you'll always bend, always stretch, always figure it out. But when you say no, it reminds them that your time is not infinite, that your energy is not endless, that your generosity is not guaranteed. And that shift is important because respect is built on boundaries. People respect what they can't just walk over. If you want people to value your time, you have to show them that your time is valuable by refusing to waste it. If you want people to respect your energy, you have to protect it with the word no. Saying no also frees you from the trap of guilt. At first, guilt will try to creep in because you're used to carrying everybody else's burdens. You'll feel like you're letting people down. You'll feel like you're being mean. You'll feel like they're going to hate you. But over time, you realize that guilt is just a sign that you're breaking an old habit. You were conditioned to believe that you owe everyone your yes, but the moment you begin practicing no, you break free from that conditioning. You begin to realize that your worth is not measured by how much you do for others, but by who you are as a person. The power of no also lies in how it reshapes your life. Every no is actually yes to something else. When you say no to things that drain you, you say yes to rest. When you say no to toxic people, you say yes to peace. When you say no to distractions, you say yes to focus. When you say no to everyone else's plans, you say yes to your own dreams. That one word is not shutting doors, it's opening better ones. It's not about limiting your life, it's about directing your life. No creates space for the things that actually matter to you. And here's the truth that many don't realize. When you say no, you find out who really values you. The people who only liked you for what you could give will be offended. They'll try to guilt you. They'll try to make you feel bad. But the people who truly care about you will respect it. They'll understand. They'll adjust. They'll love you whether you say yes or no. No becomes a filter that separates users from supporters. It shows you who sees you as a person and who only sees you as a resource. Learning the power of no also builds your confidence. At first, you might stumble, your voice might shake, you might over-explain yourself. But the more you say it, the stronger you become. You stop justifying, you stop apologizing, you stop making excuses. You realize that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain why you can't. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to negotiate. Simply saying no is enough, and standing on that without fear teaches you strength you didn't even know you had. Another layer to this is how no protects your mental health. Constantly saying yes leaves you anxious, stressed, and burned out. You're stretched too thin, juggling too much, living in constant overwhelm. But when you embrace no, you create space for calm. You no longer live in reaction to everyone else's demands. You start living in alignment with your own priorities. That shift in itself can change everything about how you move through the world. Instead of being pulled in every direction, you begin to walk in a direction that's right for you. No also redefines love. Real love is not about overextending yourself until you're empty. Real love has balance. Real love includes boundaries. Saying no teaches people that you love them, but you also love yourself. It shows them that you can support them without losing yourself in the process. It teaches healthier dynamics where people learn to respect each other's limits instead of exploiting them. The power of no ultimately sets you free. Free from the pressure to please everyone. Free from the weight of other people's expectations. Free from the prison of always being the dependable one. It allows you to reclaim your voice, reclaim your time, reclaim your life. No is not the enemy. It is the shield that protects you from everything that tries to take too much. And once you learn to use it, you realize it doesn't push people away. It protects the right relationships and creates space for the life you truly deserve. Setting boundaries that protect your peace is one of the most important skills you can develop if you want to live a life that is full, balanced, and authentic. A lot of people struggle with boundaries because they think boundaries are walls. They think it means shutting people out, being cold, being distant, but that's not what boundaries are. Boundaries are not walls, they're doors. They don't block love, they allow healthy love to enter while keeping the unhealthy energy outside. Boundaries are not about keeping people away. They're about keeping yourself safe. They are the rules you set for how people can treat you, how much access they get to you, and how far you're willing to go without sacrificing your own well-being. Without boundaries, you're exposed to anything and everything people throw at you. And most of the time, that leaves you drained, resentful, and disconnected from yourself. The reason boundaries are so important is because your peace is fragile. Peace doesn't just happen by accident. It's something you have to guard. You can't control how other people act, but you can control what you allow. And every time you let someone walk all over you, every time you let them speak to you in a way that disrespects you, every time you let them cross a line without consequences, you're teaching them that your peace is not valuable. Boundaries flip that. Boundaries tell people, this is how far you can go, and if you go beyond that, I will remove myself. It's not about controlling them. It's about controlling you. It's about teaching people how to treat you by showing them what you will and won't accept. Boundaries protect your time. Time is one of the most valuable resources you have, but without boundaries, people waste it without a second thought. They'll call you for hours when you're busy. They'll invite you to things that don't align with your goals. They'll ask you to do things they could do themselves, and because you're afraid of disappointing them, you keep saying yes. But when you set boundaries, you start telling people when you're available and when you're not. You stop letting your calendar get filled with things that don't serve you. You start prioritizing your own dreams and responsibilities instead of being at everyone else's disposal. That simple shift changes everything because it allows you to actually live your life instead of constantly living for everyone else's. Boundaries also protect your energy. Energy is like money. If you spend it on the wrong things, you'll end up broke. Without boundaries, you give your energy to people who drain you, to arguments that don't matter, to situations that leave you empty. And then you wonder why you're exhausted, why you're unmotivated, why you feel stuck. It's because you've been investing your energy in the wrong places. Setting boundaries teaches you to say, I will not spend my energy on things that don't feed me. I will not argue with people who refuse to understand me. I will not pour into cups that never pour back into mine. Protecting your energy allows you to show up as your best self in the places that truly matter. Emotional boundaries are just as important. Without them, people's words and actions can control your feelings. They criticize you and suddenly you're doubting yourself. They dismiss you and suddenly you feel unworthy. They ignore you and suddenly you feel invisible. But when you set emotional boundaries, you take back that power. You stop letting other people's behavior dictate your worth. You start saying, your opinion is not my truth. Your rejection does not define me. Your approval is not the measure of my value. Emotional boundaries allow you to stay grounded in who you are regardless of how people treat you. And then there are relational boundaries which are crucial for healthy connections. Without them, relationships become unbalanced. One person gives everything while the other takes. One person sacrifices while the other benefits. One person loses themselves while the other thrives. But boundaries create balance. They allow you to give love without being consumed by it. They allow you to be supportive without being used. They allow you to share yourself without losing yourself. Healthy relationships require two whole people, and you can't be whole if you don't protect yourself with boundaries. The challenge is that when you first start setting boundaries, people are going to push back, especially if they've been used to you having none. They'll call you selfish, they'll call you difficult, they'll make you feel guilty for finally standing up for yourself. But that pushback is proof that the boundary is necessary. If someone only loved you because you were easy to use, their anger is not your problem. Boundaries expose who respects you and who doesn't. The ones who truly value you will adjust. They may not like it at first, but they'll learn to respect it because they'll realize the boundary is what keeps you healthy enough to even be in their life. Another thing to remember is that boundaries are not about punishment, they're about protection. You don't set them to hurt people. You set them to preserve your peace. You don't set them because you hate people. You set them because you love yourself. And when you love yourself enough to protect your peace, you actually become better for others too. You show up with more patience, more clarity, more love because you're not weighed down by resentment. Boundaries also give you freedom. Without them, you're trapped in the expectations of others. You're constantly reacting, constantly pleasing, constantly bending. But with them, you start living life on your terms. You start making decisions based on your values instead of someone else's demands. You stop being a prisoner to what people want from you and start being the author of your own life. That freedom allows you to live authentically, to speak your truth, to prioritize your joy. At the core, setting boundaries is about self-respect. It's about saying, I matter too. It's about recognizing that your peace is sacred, that your energy is valuable, that your life is worth protecting. It's about giving yourself permission to not carry burdens that aren't yours. It's about creating space where you can breathe, grow, and thrive without being constantly drained by people who don't respect your limits. Boundaries are not a luxury. They are a necessity if you want to live with peace, dignity, and strength. Attracting respect by choosing strength over niceness is something many people overlook because they assume that being nice is what makes people value them. They think if they smile enough, agree enough, give enough, and bend enough, others will appreciate them. But what actually happens is the opposite. Niceness without boundaries doesn't earn respect, it earns convenience. People don't look at the nice one and think, wow, they're strong and worthy of admiration. They look at the nice one and think, I can get away with anything around them. Respect doesn't come from how agreeable you are. Respect comes from how much strength you're willing to show in the face of pressure. Strength doesn't mean being rude or harsh. It doesn't mean walking around with an attitude or shutting everyone out. Strength means being rooted in who you are, refusing to bend for things that compromise your peace, and standing on your values even when it would be easier to fold. When you choose strength, people start to see you differently. They may not like it at first, especially if they've grown used to you being the person who never says no, but deep down, strength commands something niceness never will: respect. The truth is, people respect what they cannot control. They respect what stands firm. Think about it. If every time someone comes to you with a demand you agree instantly, they don't respect you, they just use you. But if you pause, if you weigh your decision, if you sometimes say no, they begin to understand that your yes means something. It means you actually wanted to do it, not that you felt forced. Your strength makes your choices intentional, and that intentionality builds value in people's eyes. When you lean only on niceness, you hide your real feelings. You smile when you're hurt, you agree when you're tired, you give when you're empty. Over time, that chips away at your authenticity. People don't see the real you, they see the version of you that exists for their comfort. And nobody respects someone who doesn't even respect themselves enough to be real. But when you choose strength, you stop hiding. You speak up when something bothers you. You draw a line when someone crosses it. You own your truth without apology. That level of honesty might not make you liked by everyone, but it will make you respected by the right ones. Respect is not about being liked, it's about being valued. And you can't be valued if you're constantly shrinking yourself to fit what others want. Strength tells people, I know who I am, and I refuse to compromise that just to keep you comfortable. That energy is magnetic. People may grumble about it at first, but over time, they adjust to it because deep down everyone understands strength. Even those who try to take advantage of you will stop once they realize you won't let them. Choosing strength also shifts how you see yourself. When you live in niceness, you feel invisible. You feel like people only want you around for what you can do, not for who you are. But when you live in strength, you feel powerful. You realize you don't have to prove your worth through endless giving. You don't have to explain your boundaries or apologize for protecting your peace. You begin to walk taller, speak clearer, and carry yourself with a confidence that can't be faked. That confidence is what draws respect, because people can sense when someone values themselves. And here's another truth: niceness often attracts users, while strength attracts respect. If you're the person who never says no, you'll always have people around you, but many of them will be there for what you provide, not for who you are. They'll drain you because they know you won't resist. But when you start living in strength, when you set boundaries and refuse to bend for nonsense, the users disappear. They get mad. They call you selfish. They drift away. But that's not a loss. That's a filter. What's left behind are the people who see you, the people who appreciate you, the people who love you even when you don't give them everything. That's respect. And it only comes when you stop being nice for the sake of being liked. Strength also teaches people how to treat you. If you show them that you're fine with disrespect, they'll keep disrespecting you. If you show them that you'll tolerate being used, they'll keep using you. But if you show them that you value yourself too much to accept anything less than respect, they'll rise to meet that standard, or they'll leave. Either way, you win, because you'll no longer be surrounded by people who drain your soul. Choosing strength over niceness doesn't mean you stop being kind. It doesn't mean you stop giving, stop loving, or stop helping. It just means you stop doing it out of fear and start doing it out of choice. When you help someone from a place of strength, it has more impact. When you love someone from a place of strength, it has more depth. When you give from a place of strength, it has more meaning. Strength elevates your kindness because it's backed by truth, not by fear of rejection. At the end of the day, people may not always remember every nice thing you did, but they will always remember how you carried yourself. They will remember if you stood firm or if you let yourself be walked over. They will remember if you spoke truth or if you swallowed it to keep them comfortable. They will remember if you respected yourself enough to demand respect in return. Respect doesn't come to the one who bends the most. It comes to the one who stands the tallest. When you choose strength over niceness, you teach people not just how to treat you, but also how to see you as someone worthy of dignity, value, and respect.